Like, why is it so hard for vendors to give us a starting price? Why are you guys are asking me and all of these brides to pay you guys money, yet you guys are being so secretive about your pricing. It drives me up the wall. I don't understand. I really don't understand.
7 years ago, when I first started my event decorating business, nobody, and I mean nobody, had pricing on their website. Everybody used to say, call for pricing. So in this video, I want to talk about it. I want to talk about if you should add pricing to your website. But before we get into it, let me formally introduce myself. My name is Lanielle Kuzar, and this is Yes Event Academy, where we are going to talk about all things events. Now, if you love to decorate events and you want to turn your passion into a business, I have classes that can help.
And wedding vendors, y'all getting on my nerve. And let's talk about it, because there is no reason why you do not have pricing on your website. And before y'all start trying to tussle, I'm talking about a minimum starting price. Okay. I understand that all couples' budgets and expectations are different, right? So you cannot give blanket pricing all the time. But there is a minimum amount of money that somebody has to pay to work with you. If you are a florist, there is a minimum amount of money that somebody would have to pay you for you to put on your bra, put on your shoes, crank your car, and drive to wherever it is that they need you to deliver them flowers and do that setup. Everybody has a minimum. I do not care what business you have. You have a minimum amount of money that you charge to do anything. And because of that, you need to put that on your website.
When I first started my business, no one had pricing on their website. So I did not put pricing on my website. And one of the things that always used to stick out in my mind was, if I put my pricing on my website, then other people are just going to come and undercut me, right? So it was almost like I wanted to protect my pricing, because I did not want anybody else in the industry to see what my pricing was and then offer my clients a lower price, right? But here's the thing. What I realized was I was spending so much time just giving quotes to people. People would come to me and say, how much is this? How much is this? How much is this? How much is this? I used to get the same question over and over and over again. There were so many people who would come to me and I would ask them for their budget. I would say, okay, well, how much do you want to spend on your decorations? And because they had never booked an event decorator before, they had never booked someone to professionally do their balloons before, they had no idea. And so it became a circular conversation, because when I would ask them, okay, how much do you want to spend? Then they would come back to me and say, well, how much should I spend? I've never done this before. And then I would say, okay, well, what's your budget? Like, are you comfortable with this number? Are you comfortable with that number? And then they would come back to me and say, well, what do people typically spend? Right? It was just this like circular conversation that used to go around.
Do not be afraid to put your pricing on your website. Like, there's this whole school of thought that people are fighting. Like, I want to put my price on my website. I don't want to. What if I put my price on my website and they don't reach out to me? What if, the goal is, if I don't put my price on the website, they're going to reach out to me and I'll tell them my pricing, and then that'll dictate, no. So the school of thought is that people are going to your website, they're going to Google you, they're going to research you, they're going to look at your reviews, they're going to find all your stuff, and they just want to know maybe a base price. Do you have packages? Do you have different things? And then if it works for them, they're going to contact you, right? The issue is that people think that if they don't put pricing on their website and then they send pricing, the client doesn't reach out. They have no idea why they didn't reach out. It's not because they're ghosting you. It's because your price is not what they expected. Maybe it doesn't align with the service that you do, or maybe it's too expensive and they just don't want to spend it and they want to go on from there. They have a budget of $2,000 and your pricing starts at $4,000. Why would they reach out and call you?
He brings up such a good point about ghosting, right? Because so many of us in this industry, we complain and we complain and we complain. We do not like to be ghosted, right? But the thing is that when you do not have your pricing on your website, clients have no pricing expectations. They have no idea how much you charge, right? So just like he mentioned, if your client has a budget of $2,000, but you're charging $4,000, they're not going to know that until they get a quote from you. And once they find out that you are outside of their budget, most people are just going to move on. They're just going to move on. And I know that may seem rude, right? I know that may seem rude, but most people are not going to come back and say, "Oh, I can't afford this. Have a nice day." They're just going to move on to somebody who is in their price range, right? And so that was one of the main reasons why I ended up putting pricing on my website, because I was spending so much time sending out quotes and being ghosted. For me, I wanted to set those pricing expectations right off the bat, right? So let's not waste each other's time. I don't want to waste anybody's time if my decorations are not in their budget, right? And I don't want anybody coming to me and wasting my time after they see that my decorations are not within their budget. Okay. So that to me is one of the biggest reasons why I decided doing it as a business. But if we look at it from the client's perspective, right? If we look at it from the client's perspective, what I'm noticing now that I'm back on TikTok and now that I'm doing my research to see what these brides are saying and what these clients are saying, right? A lot of them think that we are hiding our pricing. A lot of them think that we're being secretive.
You wedding vendors are truly something else. Like, I don't understand. I just asked this girl, like, made a post about needing information regarding a planner, mind you, a wedding planner. And this girl responds and she's like, "Oh, I do photography. Let me know, blah, blah." And I like looked up her stuff looks good. So I respond to her and I send her a message and I'm like, "Can you give me a ballpark, like, starting price of your services so I can see if this is even worth a discussion," basically. And then she comes back and responds with, "Can you please fill out an inquiry form and give me your photography and videography budget so that we can see." I literally just asked you that. Like, why is it so hard for vendors to give us a starting price? Why are you guys are asking me and all of these brides to pay you guys money, yet you guys are being so secretive about your pricing. It drives me up the wall. I don't understand. I really don't understand. What is it with that? And all vendors do it. And usually photographers and videographers are better at listing their starting prices. So I will say, in a general sense, yes, like photographers and videographers are better at that. But all the other vendors, what is up with that? Because y'all all do it. Every single one of you do it.
That is not the type of experience that I want my clients to have. And I will tell you this, when I first put my pricing on my website, the first client that I booked, immediately she told me, "You're the only person that has packaging. You're the only person that has pricing. You're the only person that has everything laid out on your website." So I didn't even have to like question you or send you anything. She was like, "I got all the information that I needed right from your website." She said, "I didn't have to set up a consultation, a call." She said, "I didn't have to go back and forth with you," right? She was like, "I was able to get everything from your website." And let me tell you, that client had a big budget, okay? She had a really nice budget. The clients are changing. These new clients, they are used to AI. They are used to Google, right? They're used to being able to get information really quickly. So we have to adapt and we need to have good answers. So let me tell you what I do, okay? So when someone comes to me and they're asking me for a price, I always give them my minimum, okay? So I will always say, "Hey, here's my minimum price as to what you have to spend." So you can get whatever decorations that you want, you just have to spend at least this amount. And that way, that sets pricing expectations with them to say, "Okay, you have to spend at least this amount." Okay. Now, if someone sends me a picture or someone asks me, like, on average, like, how much does this cost? What I will do is I will come up with an estimate. Okay. Now, if you have a hard time with pricing on demand like this, I do have a pricing class that you can take, but I would highly recommend that you sit down with your numbers. Okay. Sit down with your numbers and figure out on average, what do people spend with you? Okay. So when clients typically book you, how much do they on average spend with you? Okay. And also look at the different, like for me, what I do is I offer different types of backdrops. So I know for each backdrop that I offer, like on average, how much do people typically spend? Okay. So the thing is that you can set some sort of pricing expectations with your clients. You don't have to give them an exact price. So what I tell my clients is I say, okay, here's my minimum. Okay. So you have to spend at least this amount. And then I tell them, if you have a picture of the decorations that you're interested in, just send me that and I can give you an estimate. But I explain to them that this is just an estimate. The final price will be calculated once I know all of the event details, right? Once we finalize everything, then I will give you a final price. So putting your pricing on your website will help you to come across as more transparent, right? But here's the thing, I completely understand that not every business is going to put their pricing on their website. Now, you may have, let's say that you're a baker, and every design that you create is literally custom based off of the client's vision, right? So you may be creating something completely custom, even if you're an event decorator or if you're into draping, right? Like whatever it is that you do, if what you offer is so customized and clients are coming to you for that customization, I think they understand that you are not going to have pricing on your website. I think they understand that they have to have a consultation with you. They have to go through a process where you understand what it is that they're looking for, and then you give them a proposal or you give them a quote, right? So I understand that not everybody is going to have pricing on their website. You have to do what is best for your business. I can tell you, with my business, I realized that I was spending so much time giving quotes, so much time getting ghosted. So many people were coming to me just to say, how much is this? How much is this? How much is this? A lot of them were asking the same question over and over and over again. So instead of me spending all that time giving them quotes, I just put my pricing on my website. I did not think it was a good use of my time to be spending all of those hours, all of that time giving out quotes. For me, I figured I could be spending my time on YouTube making videos, okay? When I put pricing on my website, let me just say this. When I put my pricing on my website, because people could see how much I charge, and I had packages, right? As a matter of fact, I'm about to add my packages back to my website, but I had packages on my website, and I would say, here's the price, here's everything that's included, right? There was no guessing. Literally, my clients knew exactly what they were going to get. So when a client would come to me and say, here's what I want, it was so much easier to book them. Once I started putting my pricing on my website, it was so much easier for me to book clients, even though it cut down on the number of inquiries that I would get. So once I put my pricing on my website, I did not get as many inquiries. There weren't as many people reaching out to me. But the people who did reach out to me, 9 times out of 10, I was able to book them. If I was available, if the details of their event, if it was something that worked within my schedule, I was booking them. Here's another thing. There are times where people do not put their pricing on their website because they're not confident in their pricing, right? So if you are an event decorator, I'm going to put the link to my pricing guide. I have a pricing guide for balloons. It's quick and easy. You can see a couple of examples in there and you can learn how I price my decorations, okay? So I'm going to put the link in there. I also have an online course that you can take that has plenty of examples in there, okay? So if you are not confident about your pricing and you want some help, I will put some links in the description so that I can help you, all right? Now, if you have any other questions, please let me know. And I'll see you in my next video.